Hello, everyone. It's great to have you again. This is the, I think, fourth session in our series, and we are very happy that you continue to find this useful. This session today is on international accreditation. We want to look at the processes and benefits to institutions and how academic administrators and faculty or academic staff can work together in this process. So we have the chairman of the Accreditation Services for International Colleges, Schools, and Universities, Dr. Maurice Dimok. We are very happy to have you and to listen to you school us in this process, considering that ASIC is one of the biggest organizations globally that accredits institutions from across the world. They are based in the UK and a recognized institution within the UK. So during the next 1 hour, we are going to have Dr. Dimok and also have questions from all our participants. So once more, we are very happy to have you all and welcome Dr. Dimok.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Michael. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, that's sure. Good. Hi, my name is Dr. Maurice Dimok. I'm chairman of ASIC, we're actually going to be celebrating our 15 years in existence next year. Little did I think when we first started our accreditation that we would become a worldwide organization, because we were first appointed by the UK government to accredit private institutions in the UK. Neither did I think that we would have 2 years of disruption as we've had in the last 2 years. And unfortunately, due to Omicron, it looks as though we're going to be having it in the future. And having said that, I think what I've seen over the last 2 years is an incredible flexibility amongst in educational institutions, both at school level and at university level, to ensure that the students' education is not disrupted, or it's disrupted as in a smaller way as possible. And I've seen some incredible developments of distance learning, remote learning, hybrid learning. And from what I'm hearing from many universities now, even when the pandemic is over and students are able to return back to university, that this process of hybrid education is going to continue, that a lot of the learning will continue to be done online, followed up by in-classroom discussion, debate, research, etc. So the pandemic has been bad. It's been bad for all of us, but I think a new norm is going to emerge in education, and I look forward to seeing that. I'm going to, I'm 72 years old now, and I'm not all that good on technology. I normally have other staff to help me with this. So Franz helped me earlier on to get started, so I'm going to have a go at sharing. Where is it? Yes, I think I'm okay. I'm going to start off with a short video.
ASIC accreditation is an internationally renowned quality standard for schools, colleges, universities, online learning providers, and training providers. And we have accredited institutions in over 25 countries worldwide. Accreditation through ASIC draws on 3 decades of international education experience and will help students and parents make a more informed choice, and will also help your institution demonstrate to the international student body that they are a high-quality institution. ASIC are ISO 9001 accredited, are a UK Visas and Immigration approved accreditation body for the purposes of the short-term study visa, and hold several other memberships and affiliations. ASIC accreditation covers 8 areas of operation and is carried out in 3 stages. Stage 1 is the scrutiny of the completed application form and accompanying documents. Stage 2 is the initial inspection visit, where inspectors will focus on how the institution complies with statutory regulations, along with the health and safety of the premises, and includes meetings with key management staff and the principal. The Stage 3 inspection visit includes meetings with teaching and administration staff, meetings with groups of students, lesson observations, and meetings with the principal and management team. For international institutions, the Stage 2 and Stage 3 inspection visits may be combined. ASIC accreditation will boost the profile of your institution and confirm that it meets high standards of education, welfare, and good practice, along with reassuring students and agents that your institution is a good choice and that you will provide them with professional teaching, valuable qualifications, and a positive learning experience. Our accreditation is not simply a one-time process, and we are dedicated to developing productive, long-lasting working relationships with institutions. Other benefits of accreditation include help in developing international partnerships, help with setting up effective internal auditing and evaluation systems, help to achieve international recognition for awards. We can work with universities to help gain a higher ranking with the QS World University Ranking System, and to assist in research capacity building. There is also access to accredited agents in over 80 countries around the world, and inclusion in ASIC's marketing activities, which include discounts at exhibitions and fairs, exhibition attendance, newsletters, and assistance with your internationalization plans. ASIC also offers professional consultancy services to educators in all fields, including both new startups and established institutions. To provide the service, ASIC draws upon a vast pool of experienced consultants with a successful track record of providing custom solutions to institutions across the world. Our services are suitable for a wide variety of educational institutions, such as privately run foundations, NGOs, government-run schools, major corporations, or investment groups, new startups, private colleges, universities, and academies. For more information about our accreditation process, benefits, and consultancy, please visit our website.
Okay. Can you still hear me, Fran?
Yes, that was, and the video played very nicely.
Good, excellent. I'll go on to a PowerPoint later. I just wanted to say, first of all, a little bit about accreditation. It means different things to different people. And I remember going back to my days at the university in Newcastle, where I was Director of International Development and Pro-Vice Chancellor. Whenever we heard somebody was coming into accreditors, fear spread across the university. And the university did all sorts of things to get prepared for the inspection. And I remember when the engineering faculty, headed up by a friend of mine, Professor John Wilson, who is now one of our inspectors, you got extra points from QAA if you had chartered engineers on your staff. Now, although I wasn't in the engineering faculty, I was part of management, I was a chartered engineer. So I was drafted into the engineering department for the period of accreditation so that they could get extra points, which I just didn't think was the right thing to do. One of the things that we do when we go into accreditation institution is we want people to feel at ease. We don't want people to put on an act. We don't want people to pretend they are something that they're not. All we want to see is what they're doing, and they're doing it right. And they're doing what they say they do without any exaggeration or anything. When we first started ASIC was started by a group of academics from the University of Newcastle. And I founded the company. And when we decided to put together our standards, which accreditation, our accreditation is built upon, we built it upon 3 pillars: duty of care to the students, duty of care to the academic staff, and duty of care to the academic process, the academic environment. So all our standards were built on these 3 things. And all our standards will fall within that. We also encompass things like inclusivity, diversity. We encompass things like entrepreneurship and enterprise. And we encompass things on caring for our community and caring for our environment. What we don't expect institutions in Africa, in Asia, to become a replica of UK universities. Although we're a UK body, we don't impose UK standards on other countries. And I'll be honest, we wouldn't want to, because as I travel the globe, I see far better examples of how education should be run, far better than I see in the UK. And I'm speaking obviously generally there. I see good practices of education everywhere I go. So let me try again to get my PowerPoint on. Share. I think I'm okay there. Are we on there, Fran?
Yes.
And you can
Perfect.
hear me. Good, good. Okay. The ASIC group of companies are four different companies. There's ASIC Global, which I'm talking about today. This is the accreditation of institutions, schools, colleges, training organizations, and universities around the world. We have another company called Quisan, and this is where we accredit educational representatives, educational agents who help to recruit students for universities and schools. ASIC Qual, as you may guess, is an awarding body that we have for diploma type programs. And ASIC UK is the one that was formed within the UK government for accrediting UK institutions. Our mission, and we are getting towards our mission now, which perhaps we need to modify it a little bit, is to be a globally recognized authority on the accreditation of international institutions. And we are recognized globally now. To assist international institutions to develop into high quality providers of quality education respected worldwide. And that's something which is ongoing. It's a journey. We are here to work alongside educational institutions to help them continually improve, continually offer a better education for their students. And of course, to ensure that institutions adhere to all the relevant local government and international regulations through a rigorous and fair accreditation procedure. Again, we don't ask you to adhere to UK regulations, we ask you to adhere to your local regulations. And then we may then recommend other things to go on top of that. As I say, we're celebrating 15 years next year, and we'll be having a big conference. Hopefully it'll be a celebration conference as well to celebrate the end of the pandemic. We started up being invited by the UK government to set up an accrediting body for the private sector, and that only institutions accredited could bring international students into the UK. This needs updating actually, because we now have accredited over 1,300 colleges and universities, representing over 1 million international students. Why ASIC accreditation? Well, first of all, is to demonstrate that you meet your statutory requirements, that you are able to demonstrate robust and supportive governance and management. You engage in continuous quality assurance, monitoring and evaluation of teaching and research activities, and students receive a good education in a safe and caring environment. And we do take very seriously health and safety, and we have been able to help many institutions actually improve their health and safety reputation within their own country. I want to go straight into our standards now. We have 8 areas, as you can see down there. But they're all built around these 3 pillars that we developed. The premises and health and safety. This is where we have a look at to make sure that students in your care are safe, that the staff working in your institution are safe. So we have a look at things like fire escapes. Do you have a fire drill, for instance? I remember going to an institution in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And what we tend to do is we follow the fire escape signs to see where it leads us, to make sure that there is an easy route out of the building. Well, we were following this route, fire escape, there's a sign, followed the route, went along this corridor, and there was a chained locked door. So nobody could escape. So what they would do, the students would turn around, meet the students coming for them, and there would be chaos and a serious issue. So we look very carefully at premises, health and safety, make sure that everything is monitored locally by local fire brigade. We like to see staff trained in basic first aid, so they can come to the assistance of students. If you are teaching children under the age of 18, or in some countries 16, we want to make sure that the people you have employed to teach don't have any criminal record associated with abuse of children. This is a big thing in the UK now, and it's something that we look at very, very closely. We look at governance, management, and the staff resource. So here we look at, are the governors or the trustees active in the support of what is going on within that institution, or are they there just in name? What kind of assistance do the governors give the school? We look at management and staff resource to make sure that the management and the staffing resourcing is sufficient for the size of the institution, that they take an active role, that management know what's going on within the educational environment. Learning, teaching, and research. This is where we look at how the students actually learn. Is it by all in classroom? Is there remote learning involved as well? We looked at the quality. We look at the quality of teaching. How does the institution monitor the quality of the teaching? What's the process of appointing teaching staff? And for example, how do you check the qualifications of the teaching staff? I remember being in Bangkok, and we had an office in, this is when I was at the university, we had an office in Bangkok manned by one of my staff, and he took me to a shop in the Koh San Road in Bangkok, and in the window was a university degree certificate from my university with my signature on it. I went into the shop to have a look. I could not tell that that certificate was fake. There are so many good, well, I won't say good, but misleading qualifications out there that you need to check. Normally, there'll be a reference number, and you can check with the university that that was issued from, and they should get back to you that this is a suitable certificate, a genuine certificate. So how do we monitor the teaching? Do you do classroom observation? Do you listen to the students? Do you listen to the other staff? Do you undertake peer observation of your teaching? Do you provide staff development opportunities for your staff, both at management and at teaching level and at administrator level? We have teamed up with Harvard University. We have a cooperation agreement with them, and they are providing staff development programs. Most of them are online at the moment, but they are providing staff development programs for the staff of our institutions. If you're a university and undertake research, how is the research supervision undertaken? Is the consistency of supervision of the research? How do you agree a research proposal? How do you prepare a student to undertake their research? Quality assurance and enhancement. This is where we look at your own internal quality assurance systems. Do you have a separate department? Is it undertaken by a manager? How is it done? And we look forward to looking at different institutions' own procedures and policies on quality assurance and enhancement. Student welfare. How do you look after your students? So if a student has difficulties with his or her finances, if there are any family issues, if there's any bereavement, if there is sickness, is there somebody there who can help and support that student? If they're having trouble with their academic work, do you have tutors available to assist them in difficult areas? Going back to the quality assurance as well, do you undertake what I call cohort analysis, where you analyze student and cohorts performance across the board to identify areas that may become an issue later on, so you can address it before it gets too bad. Awards and qualifications. Again, we get so many institutions coming to us that we are not able to take forward for accreditation because they're offering degrees, but nobody's approved these degrees. Now, we can't accept that. So degrees need to be approved either by their own government or they need to be validated by another university. I know when I was in Newcastle, we worked with several institutions around the world, and we validated their degree. And their degree had both logos of our university and their university. Marketing and student recruitment. This is where we have a look at how do you actually market your institution. We interrogate, actually I don't like that word interrogate, but we look at your website and we make sure there is no exaggeration, that you don't show photographs of huge campuses if you're only a small university. We look at what you promise students and do you fulfill that? If you work with agents, how do you monitor your agents? How do you recruit your agents? Because, you know, there are a lot of rogue agents out there who promise you the world and don't produce anything. We look at your relationship with government officers and what kind of reporting mechanisms you have, especially when it comes to international students and visas. Do you monitor, how do you monitor students' attendance, students' progress? Is there a regulation that you have to report any students who go missing to your government? So we have a look at the relationship between your administrative staff and the government and what reporting mechanisms are necessary. So the stages, first of all, you send in an application form. We go through that, we look at your website, and we ask for some basic documentation to make sure you have a license, that you adhere to local regulations, you adhere to health and safety regulations, etc. If that is okay, then we can move on to stage 2. Now, at the moment, because of the pandemic, we haven't been visiting institutions. We've been doing remote inspections. This is where we arrange Zoom calls with the inspectors and teams from the institution. Now, this may go over 2 or 3 different days where we talk to the governors and the management on one Zoom call. We talk to teaching staff and administrative staff on another call, and we talk to students on another Zoom call. Now, we know this is not perfect. We know that it is flawed, but we do the best we can in the present circumstances. If you can't get hold of students to come on Zoom, then we send out a questionnaire to students. Some institutions send us videos of teaching in the class. They send us videos and photographs of the premises, which is very, very helpful. Some institutions do a video walkthrough, so we can see the institution. So if we do a remote inspection, we can't give 4 years accreditation. So what we do is we give accreditation for 2 years. And within that 2 years, we will then do a physical inspection. In fact, I've just returned from Bangkok, where I did 3 post-remote inspections, where I actually visited the centre, spoke to the students, undertook lesson observation, spoke to the management, looked around the campus, checked out the health and safety. So that is a confirmation of what we've done through the remote. And then we're able to extend that accreditation to the full 4 years. The third stage is after we've done the inspection, then inspectors then write a report. The the inspector and the support inspectors check that report. It is then goes to an accreditation committee. They look through the report, they check everything off, they make sure nothing's been missed, and a decision is made. Now, that decision can be passed. Yes, fine. You've satisfied the basic criteria. In each area, it's possible to get what we call commendation. That is where we have certain standards which are over and above the standard. So it's possible to get commendations in some areas. And then if you get so many commendations, then we can designate you as a premier institution, which is the highest level of our basic accreditation. Once that's done, we then attach an action plan. This is where we give recommendations on areas which we feel you could improve in, and areas in which we can actually assist you in that improvement. What I want to emphasize is our when we go in and accredit an institution, we don't go in acting like policemen. We go in as your quality partner, and we work alongside you over the 4 years of your accreditation to assist you to improve. If we don't have anybody on our full-time staff who can give you the assistance you need, then we have lots of academics working in universities around the world who can help. Now, on that decision, there is a basic pass. Now, it could be that you haven't satisfied some of the important criteria, and therefore we would defer the decision, and we would ask you to supply further information before we are able to confirm accreditation. Also, within the report that you get, the decision that you get, we also identify on your report particular areas of strength, whether it be student welfare, your adherence to inclusivity and diversity. It could be the quality of your teaching, the quality of your administration, etc. So we identify various areas of strength of your institution. And of course, you can use that as part of your own marketing. Some of our recent developments, we have a consultancy service now, which includes lots of different things depending on what each university's needs are. Some want some advice on restructuring. Some want some advice on governance. Some want advice on developing new teaching and learning strategies. And we have staff there who can help. Some want us to help them with recruitment. Now, we can't assist an institution directly in recruiting students, but we do have this other company, Quisan, where we can supply you with names and addresses, contacts of very, very good educational agents. We also do bespoke seminars. So if you want us to run a seminar, which I've done recently in Jordan, on marketing and recruitment, on international marketing, then we will come and do that. In fact, on the marketing side, I would probably do that. We've also quite recently been assisting universities with their QS star rating and their World University rankings. And I must say, been very, very successful in that. The 5 universities we've helped with have all gained their QS star rating. 3 of them got 5-star overall, and the others got several 5 stars in the rankings, and all of them have increased in their ranking. Whilst I was at the university, I worked as a consultant for QS. So I know what they're looking for. I know the best way to present information to QS and the Times Higher. A lot of it is about data. It's about gathering data. So we need to have a look that your information systems are adequate to gather all this data for the QS and the World University Rankings. In January, we are launching 2 new products. In a way. One is Internationalization Index. This is where you can gain certain crowns for how truly international you are. And in actual fact, when we put this out for field study, universities came back to us and said, wow, this is a fantastic blueprint for us to become a truly international university. So that's going to be launched in January. We also now, if you remember when I spoke to you first, we were brought in by the UK government to accredit private institutions. And these were quite small institutions. We then started to expand internationally, and we were getting good universities, but not big universities, not well-known universities coming for accreditation. So our standards were pretty okay to cover the range of institutions. However, in the last 2 years, we have now started to accredit world-ranked universities. So everybody was getting platinum status. So we have now included some extra standards, which are standards that are required within the QS ranking, the QS star and the various world university rankings. So what people have been doing, actually, they've been coming to us for platinum accreditation once they've gained the basic accreditation, and they've been using that and the Internationalization Index to help prepare for their World University ranking. And it's been very, very successful. Over the last 4 years, we have been giving out various awards, Lifetime Achievement Awards, awards for demonstration of entrepreneurship and enterprise, working in the community, awards for teaching excellence, awards for outstanding management of the education process, and awards for diversity, inclusivity, and awards for environment, and also for the promotion of women in higher education. So we have an awards program which is ongoing, and that has been very, very successful. Assistance with ASIC branding. Sometimes people don't know how they can actually use the ASIC brand to promote excellence and to promote their own their own quality. So we have a lady called Rebecca who will be your personal assistant in helping you to brand ASIC within your own website, within your own promotional material. We've also got, because the pandemic has caused a lot of financial problems and problems of administration within institutions, we have brought in a new membership and candidacy category. And these 2 categories are stepping stones to full accreditation. So you may not be able to demonstrate full accreditation, but we at least coming in as a member, we gather basic information on you, and you can show a membership logo. We also have candidacy, which again is halfway towards full accreditation. We've also developed, at the request of several universities, programmatic accreditation. So instead of having the whole institution accredited, you can have a program accredited, or you can have a faculty accredited. If I tell you, we've just accredited the University of Cairo agricultural faculty, which University of Cairo, as you probably know, is one of the largest universities in the world, highly ranked with the World University Ranking, and indeed, I think probably the second or third oldest university in the world. And they have 740,000 students in the agricultural faculty. So that was quite a task, but we've just finished it, and they now have their programmatic accreditation. Partnerships with external bodies to provide continuous professional development. I said earlier, we're working with Harvard. They've developed some fantastic staff development programs. We're working with an organization in the UK called Skills Network, and they have very short online programs which cost $30, $40 each to do, but they're very good, very, very good, and just keeps the development of your staff going. And the Skills Network have a range of over 200 different programs. We also, I mentioned later on in this PowerPoint, we've also developed monthly webinar series, seminars, which are accredited by CPD in the United Kingdom. So anybody attending our seminars will get a CPD certificate. We are running one at end of January, which is looking at the development and use of good quality digital platforms for the delivery of remote learning. So that one is going to be end of January. And if you sign up for our newsletter, you will get information on that. We're also working with governments on accreditation projects. We've just signed an agreement in Jordan. We've signed agreement in KSA, in Pakistan, and in Qatar. And I have a meeting back in Bangkok with the Ministry of Education in Thailand, where if a university has our accreditation, they don't need to go for local licensing every year. And we're working with international awarding bodies, such as Cambridge in schools, ATHN, ATHE, LRN, and many, many others. Post accreditation. We have a help desk, and you see the lady in the background on the right, that's Florence. She mans the help desk, and she's there to help you on anything at all. Consortium building. This is where we have our strength. We've been running international conferences every year and several regional conferences. The international conferences have been held in Bali, in Muscat, in Bangkok, and in Kuala Lumpur. And we are going to be running one in February in Jordan. And this is where we want our institutions to work together on sharing of platforms, sharing of joint research activities, exchange of staff, exchange of students. And that is working absolutely superbly. Many of our institutions are now working together in partnership. Research capacity building. Professor John Wilson was heading this up. He is working with universities to help them to develop their research capacity, something that I know many universities are concerned about, because the QS ranking, the World University rankings, are very, very heavily research orientated. So we have ways in which we can help you with your research capacity building. I've already mentioned international student recruitment. I guess I've mentioned partnership development, and I've mentioned preparation of the rankings. So one of the real benefits of our accreditation, and I'm not being disparaging against anybody else, but accreditation doesn't stop after we've visited you and you've been awarded accreditation. The real benefit to a university is what happens after that. We are here to work with you. We have a network of hundreds of academics around the world who can work alongside you, that can help you to develop as an institution. Okay, well, that's the end of a PowerPoint presentation. I will attempt to get back. Oh, there we are.
All right, thank you very much. That was very informative. We have a few questions already, but I want to invite the rest of the attendees. If you have a question, raise your hand and we will enable your mic and you can ask your question or you can type it in. First question we have was from Ambassador Dr. Muwafaq.
Oh,
I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name, but it was the question was posed earlier on when you were talking about COVID and the accreditation process. And he was asking about, so how could we approach these institutions to be sure that with accreditation and measures taken by ASIC can listen, the question is, can listen to their worries and can help. Could you please elaborate on how ASIC can assure them that they will be fine?
I don't know whether I quite understand the question.
I was thinking that it was really about how you, and you may have answered the question because you spent considerable time talking about the remote visits and accreditation and all of that, you know. So a part of that is indeed that you are exercising caution by doing remote visits and not placing any additional risk. But I want to invite Ambassador to grab the microphone. I'm going to just let him ask his question. If I have, let me see if he's still, where is he? There he is. Okay, so I'm going to give him the microphone. He can ask his question. Do you have the microphone? Yeah, there he is.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Ambassador.
Good evening. First of all, I would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas with all best wishes. And we hope to get rid of all this pandemic and see everybody happy and we get together on the ground. So may I wish you all the best wishes and the end of all suffering for the whole world.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Dear Chairman, thank you very much for this presentation. Here, actually, the worries of our educational institutions about the pandemic. So how could you advise our universities, colleges, and schools through accreditation, they will be fine and there is no any risk because they are really worried now about the pandemic in schools, in colleges and universities. So how you could assure them that all the processes of accreditation will be fine and there will be no risk to keep in touch with ASIC?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I think I understand that question. Yeah, well, that's indeed why we have brought in the remote inspections. And Ambassador, as you know, we've accredited 6 universities now in Jordan remotely, where we've had several Zoom conferences with each university. We've also been able to advise them on the way they should support their students during this difficult time, and obviously not put any of their students at risk by bringing them into the campus before the campus is totally safe to do so. I also want to say that I have seen some outstanding examples on where the students have been supported by the universities, and we commend them on that. But I think it's very important that the students give confidence to the the staff give confidence to the student that their education is not being interrupted. That is so important. I've spoken to many students who just, oh, I can't study online. It's not going to be the same as going into the university. I've also heard universities complain that parents haven't been paying their fees to the university because they don't feel that they're getting the same. And of course, they don't understand that in many cases, it is much more difficult to develop a remote program than it is in a classroom. But as far as the inspection is concerned, Ambassador, we want to ensure the universities that we will spend as much time as we need to gather the amount of information. It's new to us, it's new to them, but we will spend as much time as we need to gather that information. And then, as you know, my team have just got back from Jordan, where we then visited the institutions, spoke to students, spoke to staff, and did the full accreditation, really to confirm what we'd found in the remote part of the inspection. And I must say, it's worked extremely well. And we are going to develop further, actually doing part of our accreditation remotely. And there we can spend more time, instead of going through documentation when we're at the center, we can go through the documentation remotely, and then spend more time with people and the actual environment whilst we're there. I hope that answers your question, Ambassador.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I know Ambassador has some other questions, but I want to allow Niba to ask her question. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank.
His question. My apologies.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Frank. Thank you, Dr. Dimok, for your excellent presentation. That was quite resourceful and very rich. However, I have one preoccupation, which of course comes as a question. I want to find out why you choose the bench line of 4 years to achieve full accreditation, and what happens to a university after 4 years of your accreditation.
Right. We have taken the CHEA benchmark for accreditation. CHEA is the US body which we are part of, and they recommend that accrediting bodies only give accreditation for 4 years. After the 4 years, then we will undertake a re-accreditation. Now, what we do in between is we have an annual report which we ask an institution to send to us, and in that report we ask them to identify any new developments, any new staff, any new facilities, any new programs. We also, during the 4 years, undertake unannounced visits to institutions. Just not to catch them out, but just to see them in an unprepared state. And I must say, we've never had a problem with that. Now then, after the 4 years, what we'll have a look at is have they done anything towards our action plan? We put in an action plan, we put in recommendations. Have they done anything to fulfill those recommendations and put those recommendations into place? And again, it's sorry, somebody speaking? No.
No, sorry, his microphone. I just muted him. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's background.
So we then, after the 4 years, we go through a new accreditation process, and we tend to use, where we can, the same inspector who'd originally undertaken the inspection, but with a different support inspector. And we go through the same process. We don't look at the same documentation over and over again, but we talk to the students, talk to the staff, look at any new facilities, look at the new developments that has taken place, any new research facilities, any new, what are they doing about inclusivity? What are they doing about the environment, etc. And again, we would have a long discussion with the management team on, what their mission is. Has that changed? Has their vision changed? Any other ways in which we can work alongside them and help them? Yeah.
Great, thank you. I have several other questions in the Q&A forum. One quick question.
Thank you so much,
answer.
Dr. Dimok,
Thank
for
you.
your response. Thank you.
Okay, so Claudette is asking about accreditation standards applying to primary schools. Are there different ones, or are they similar?
Absolutely, yeah. We've accredited several. In fact, we only started accrediting schools 4 years ago at the request of several schools. So the main difference, of course, is talking to the students. We tend to talk to the parents. One of the things we do, which we enjoy doing, is participating in lessons. I've seen myself getting on the floor with the students and building things and drawing things, and we also have a look at safeguarding in a very big way. Safeguarding is so important. We look at security. Is there a gatehouse? Is it secure? What is the process for parents dropping off children and recording that, and parents picking up children? How do you identify the parent, etc.? Do you have, if in case the parent can't do it, is there a nominated person that you have a record of? Again, health and safety is very, very important. And we have a look at the whole spectrum of education. Are you educating the whole child? I know in many countries there is a religious element that needs to be included in their education, and obviously we look at that. Are you using an international awarding body, such as Cambridge assessment? Again, we have a look at the quality of the teaching and the appointment of the teachers. As I said earlier, as part of the safeguarding, how do you monitor the background of the teacher? Very, very, very important. We also look at what involvement the parents have with the school. Is there a parent-teacher association that's active? How do you gain feedback from the parents? So there's much more parental involvement in the accreditation process when we're looking at all schools, not just primary schools.
Okay, great, thank you. Peter has a two-part question for you, and the first question.
I don't like two-part questions.
Okay. Okay. First part is, does ASIC have a representation in different countries and areas in the world? This can help with on-site inspection.
Yes,
That's first.
indeed. Yes, indeed, we have. In fact, the ambassador is one of our representatives in Jordan. We have representatives, and actually we have an office in Thailand. We have representatives in Malaysia, in Oman, in Bahrain, and these are not commercial people. These are academics in their own right who help us. We also have inspectors from different countries. And so, for instance, we don't speak Thai, but we have a senior academic who's actually president of a university who also acts as a support inspector, so they can help with language. They can also help with local conditions also. So we also have an international advisory committee where we have representatives from about 14 different countries on our international advisory committee. So yes, we do have quite a lot of local representation. In some countries, we are looking for more, but Middle East, Far East, we have quite a few. Africa, not so many.
Okay, great. Thank you. Part two. Has ASIC accredited any universities in Cameroon, colleges or programs, and or any Francophone African country? And if so, what has the experience been like in terms of ratings in comparison to other countries?
Yeah, we've accredited universities in Botswana, Lesotho. I'm trying to think now. Lesotho. Botswana, Lesotho, Tanzania, Ghana, Nigeria, and we've also worked with the government in Malawi. And I think, generally speaking, the main difference is on the finance available to support the development of the institution. I think as far as the quality of the education is concerned, I don't see an awful lot of difference. I think, and I'm not being critical here, I think I'm seeing in some of our African institutions more talk and chalk, as I would call it, than interactive education. And these are things which we try and help them with, and then help work through them. A lot of it is to do with resourcing. Having said that, we've been working with some universities in Botswana, Lesotho, Tanzania, etc., where they've got the support of one of our other universities overseas, and they've helped to put resources into those institutions. But you know, we take all this into account. We take all this into account, and what we want to see is that the students in their care are getting the best possible education that they can. Quality assurance, quality education, I don't think is dependent on finance. A lot of the trimmings are, but everybody can ensure that a quality education is delivered to their young people.
It's very profound. Yes. Thank you. So we have several other questions. We have a question: is there a weighting attached to the areas of focus in accreditation? And if yes, what areas matter the most? And if no, what areas would you advise institutions focus on?
$1 million question. We don't put any weighting on any of the areas. They're all equally important. In actual fact, when our new brochure is coming out in January, and our new website is coming out in January, and we've changed the order of our areas of operation because we got so many questions. Why is health and safety a higher priority than governance and management? So we've changed it slightly, and we've put governance and management at the top, but they're all equally important. What you need to concentrate on are the areas which you are the weakest in. And if you look at our standards and you go through our standards, you will be able to identify areas that you are weak in. And they are the areas that one should concentrate on.
Very good. I think that's an important process. And one of the questions that I had is that what would you recommend as far as the journey towards becoming accredited? How can someone prepare? Because in my view, it would be a lengthy process to move through that process. So how would you strategize that?
Well, I remember talking to the University of Bahrain, and a very good university, as you appreciate. And in my meeting with them, I did my presentation. I thought it had gone very well. And I answered questions at the end. And at the end, the president said to me, Mr. Dimmock, why does your accreditation take such a short time compared to US accrediting bodies? So we have experience of a US accrediting body taking 3 years to accredit us, and we stopped the process, having spent about $70,000 US. You have quoted us $10,000 US or £10,000, and you said the accreditation process can be completed in 6 months. And I said, yeah, it can be. I said, but all these things are, how long is a piece of string? If you take a long time to prepare documents for us, or you don't give us the information that we require, then yes, it can take a longer period of time. So what we do, Fran, is we, if an institution applies to us, complete an application form, we will hold a Zoom conference with that university, and we will prepare them through a Zoom seminar on the accreditation process. They can then ask us lots and lots of questions. We can go through the whole process, tell them exactly what we want. Many institutions now, for their own governments, they do a self-evaluation, which I find is very useful, actually. Different countries call it different things. And I find that quite a useful document to read. If one looks at our application form, it lists different kinds of documents. Okay, now what we don't want people to say, right, well, okay, I need to produce that, I need to produce that, I need to produce that, I need to produce that. When it could be that some of those documents are included within a staff handbook. They're included within a student handbook. They're included within the university's health and safety manual. They're included within the quality assurance manual. So all we would want you to do is to signpost us to where those documents are. So that should save quite a bit of time. You see, I'll be honest with you, quality assurance isn't rocket science. It's looking at what you're doing, what you say you're doing, and how well are you doing it. Okay? We don't compare one university to another. Every university is different. Okay? We look at what we see. We look at what's put in front of us. I'm sure we all agree we can all do better. As a university, as a school, we can all improve. We can all do better. As an accrediting body, we're evolving year on year on year. We're listening to what people are saying to us, and we are changing things where we can. Okay, I think I forgot the second question. This is about the length of time it takes. We've accredited the university within 3 months. One institution we've just finished, and it's taken 1.5 years. That's mainly because they needed, with the pandemic, they needed to take a break and get on with other things which were important, which we certainly appreciate. So we don't give a time frame. All I'll do is to say to you that we will help you every step of the way. Once you have your application in, we will do a training session with you on Zoom, and we also appoint a mentor, which is one of our senior staff. So that if you appoint somebody responsible for the accreditation process, they can be in touch with the mentor and they can guide them every step of the way, really.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. We have a question from Ambassador that is asking, how can you accredit faculty in a university while the university itself is not accredited?
Well, the university itself must be accredited or approved locally. Okay, and I'll be very honest with you, we much prefer most of the ones where we've done a faculty or we have done a program, they're already accredited institutionally. One of our universities in Indonesia, they came to us for institutional first, and we've since undertaken 21 programmatic accreditations within that program. University of Cairo, for instance, their faculty is like a university in its own right. So what we look at with the faculty is we look at the faculty specific. So obviously we only observe lessons within that faculty. We only look at the programs within that faculty. We look at that faculty's QA process, but we also look at the relationship between the central services of that university and the faculty. We still have a look at some of the institutional things, such as the vision, the mission, the governance, the management of the university. How do the management relate to the faculty management? Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we've had several comments and questions from the participants. One, several of them want your contact information so that they can reach out to you individually to follow up, and also are requesting a copy of your PowerPoint so they can review it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I want to assure everybody that that will be distributed. And then Mary Jo is asking, will there be an on-site presentations? I'm not sure about the on-site piece in 2022 for reaccreditation, or are these going to be webinars?
I'm sorry, Fran, I missed that.
Yeah, she's asking, her question is, will there be on-site presentations in 2022 for reaccreditation?
Yes, they will. Yes.
And where will they be? Just at the institutions? So are those going to be on site at institutions that have been accredited, or is this online?
No, we'll be visiting the institutions wherever they are.
And then do the presentations there.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're uniquely crafted for the given institution.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, exactly. Yeah. One of the things we'll also be doing, Fran, is we will be running more, obviously the pandemic willing, we will be running more regional seminars overseas and regional conferences overseas, where we get panelist speakers from all over the world speaking on topical educational topics. So we will be in touch with various people. The one in Jordan has been hosted. We're doing it jointly with an institution there. So anybody here would like to consider partnering us and running a conference in their country, then please let me know. I'm just going to put my email address down here.
In the chat, very good. Yes.
Anybody wants to get in touch with me?
Very good. And let's see here. I think I'm going to give Niba the microphone again so he can ask his question. You did type it in there, Niba, but I'm assuming you'd be happy asking your question.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Frank. To Dr. Dimok, please, I have this one question. Is there a necessity for ASIC to accredit US federated institutions? And if the answer is yes, then that's fine. But if the answer is no, I want to find out if there is also a necessity for ASIC to accredit African federated institutions.
Okay. We have accredited institutions that are accredited by a US accrediting body. Yes, we have accredited some, and I think what they say to us the benefits are is how we can work alongside them post accreditation with things like QS ranking, World University rankings. So it's the benefits post accreditation, but I've got to say that even if they are US accredited, we will also undertake our full accreditation, because there may be some things that they don't look at that we look at. So we would still do a full accreditation. And I think the same answer really associated with the Federation of African, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. That's well understood.
Another question from Mohammed is when is the next ASIC conference? Where will it be held?
The next ASIC conference will be in Jordan. It was planned for February, but we have to wait and see. Our last conference was held remotely, and that worked superbly well. We had over 270 attendees. So if we can't actually run it in Jordan, then we will be running it remotely. So it'll be a virtual conference.
Thank you. Well, we have exceeded our hour for the session, but clearly this presentation generated many questions and great interest, and I think that there may need to be some follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have one more question. I'm going to give the microphone to Mohammed. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Good day, good evening to everyone, depending which part of the world we are in. The question I'm posing for is to Dr. Maurice Dimmock. Doctor, just a huge thank you also. Over the years that I've been liaising with you, you've been extremely supportive with your team, Lee Hammond and yourself, and all the staff. Each time I contact yourselves, you'd respond promptly, and you're always giving time. It really helps institutions, especially with inception. So thank you so much. My question is with regard to internationalization. Obviously, steps that you've made, and we can see obviously where you're taking us into a new direction. So where would you see ourselves or yourselves as ASIC in the coming year?
Well, thank you for those comments. So you're asking about our internationalization index, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, that's being released in January. And it's a set of checkpoints where you can score yourself against, and then it's checked by our inspectors. And there are, again, different areas of internationalization. And we're able to award various diamonds, similar to the QS star, but we have diamonds for each category. And the idea is that if you start off with 2 diamonds in one area, 3 diamonds in the other, then it gives you an idea of areas to concentrate on to develop further your international. When I was at Newcastle, when I was at the university, internationalization meant getting as many students into the university as you could, because to be honest, they're a good earner, okay? Very commercial. But we had MBA programs there, which were 95% Chinese. Now, that's not internationalization. So we're looking at diversity of the international population within an institution. We're looking at what do you do to integrate people from different nationalities within the university life, within the community. And I like to see things like universities put on international food days where people prepare food of their different nationalities, or music. We're looking at student exchanges, staff attending international conferences, presenting international papers. We're looking at student exchange, staff exchange, lots of different things. It's not just the number of international students coming into a university. We've got to get away from that.
Thank you so much there, Dr. Dimmock. I think it's a really good direction that you're taking the accreditation into, because many institutions have been sort of individualized within sometimes your own independent countries, and sometimes there has been a lot of reservation with individual countries with regard to accreditation. So body like yourselves taking it into a different light, you across the board at the moment. So your accreditation is not just individualizing on certain programs. So which is really good, and it's a wealth of information and sharing, collaborating with different institutions on an international scale, which really cuts down the accreditation onto a new level. So thank you so much, and wish you and the team really best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question. I'm sorry to get hold on to for a little bit longer. Has ASIC ever accredited military or security academies? Military or security academies? Have
Not yet. No, we haven't. No.
All right, thank you. And I think that we have
Quick answer.
perfect timing. No, it is at the half hour, and I really thank you very much, Dr. Dimmock, for doing this presentation. As I'm sure you've noted, it was of great interest and has generated a lot of food for thought for our attendees, and I am sure you will be hearing from them. Thank you everyone for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.